Greetings, my champions of the light, and welcome to another episode of Light Be With You. Now, my friends, I have heard that some of you, my disciples, may be missing the old times where we journeyed with other adventurers. I too miss those days. However, if you stick around this episode, I believe you will be left quite satisfied indeed. Now, my friends, to begin our adventures, I believe we need to make our ways over to the city of Darnassus, for it is here, my friends, that we will return the glowing shard. And what better way to take a shortcut than by utilizing the lunar festival to transport ourselves to the mystical land of Moonglade. While we are here, we may as well grab the flight path. You never know when we may be able to utilize this flight point in the future. I remember Moonglade from ancient times, for it is here, my friends, that around 18 years ago a young ScorpRogue peered out across this misty lake and consumed his first ever alcoholic beverage, Moonglow, a lunar festival special. And as we depart the lake and make our ways to Nighthaven, I turn in this random quest for a measly amount of experience points, and seeing how there is nothing left for me in Moonglade, I make my way to the Flight Master, who promptly reveals to me that I am not allowed a hippogriff, for I am not a druid. And if you think about this closely, as only night elves can be druids in the Alliance, this Flight Master clearly enjoys discriminating against the other races of the Alliance. And so, my disciples, we take the second-class citizen hippogriff flight down the mountain to the town of Oberdeen. And once there, we board a vessel northbound to Teldrassil. And what do you know? Shortly after arriving in the city of Darnassus, I receive a whisper from one of the holy disciples. That is one of you, my friends. And I am pleased to see that the holy vows are spreading far and wide. And after climbing the treehouse, I meet with Mathrengal Bearwalker, the local druid trainer, and I hand over the Nightmare Shard. And as a reward, I receive a most powerful item indeed. And of course, my friends, a healthy dose of experience points. However, my friends, what isn't so wonderful is that these more powerful shoulders, well, let's just say they don't look nearly as cool as the ones I collected from the Wailing Caverns. I suppose form follows function, and I will just have to accept this stylish downgrade. However, my friends, that disciple that had messaged me earlier, I soon discover that he is actually level 24. And I see a great opportunity to go on a wonderful adventure. And after asking this holy disciple if I could possibly lend my healing hand, I am told that if I make my way to the town of Astrana, I could aid the Night Elf Hunter on a most important quest indeed. And not wanting to miss out on this golden opportunity, I take the nearest hippogriff and make my way down south to the elven forest of Ashenvale. And before we arrive, I had better set things straight, for it is important that on our journey today, we follow the holy commandments. We must harm no creatures. We must sacrifice ourselves for others, doing everything within reason to save lives. And we must not beg for help or carries. And now that I have ensured that our holy vows will remain intact, I soon arrive in the town of Astrana. And what do you know? Our good friend Pemmy, the Night Elf Hunter, indeed did wait around for me, as he had promised. And it's not long before he becomes aware of my holy presence. And after being invited to this Night Elf Hunter's group, it turns out that he cannot share his quest with me. However, I decide to aid him on his quest regardless, and he leads the way towards the Furbulk encampment. And as we engage with the Furbulk fiends, it quickly becomes clear that this Night Elf Hunter is quite well versed in the art of combat. And to be perfectly honest, my friends, I'm not sure how much my holy healing spells are actually making a difference. And what do you know? I actually have an interesting conundrum. You see, my friends, I do notice that these Furbulk shaman, let us just say they summon these fire totems. I would like to ask you, my friends, if I were to topple one of these fire totems, please comment below if you believe this would break my holy vows. And if you can find a way to justify why we must not harm these totems, I would be most impressed with you indeed. As our hunter friend Pemmy believes, this would be perfectly acceptable behavior for a pacifist priest like me. However, soon, my friends, we come across a large camp of Furbulks, and let's just say they are not happy to see us. Fortunately, my friends, with the hunter's expert archery skills, combined with his feline companions' anger management issues, and of course the full power of the holy light, these Furbulk fiends are no match for us, and we prevail. I follow the night elf hunter on his path of vengeance, ensuring that I only provide healing and the occasional psychic scream. It is important that I do not harm any of these creatures myself. However, my friends, I will not deny that I am not enjoying the sheer amount of experience points that I am leeching from our fellow elven disciple, and soon noticing that Pemmy's quest to slay these Furbulks is coming to an end. And seeing how Pemmy seems to very much enjoy slaughtering these Furbulk fiends, I tell him that we could actually take out the Furbulk leader, and as a typical hunter would, Pemmy eagerly agrees. And what do you know? Pemmy even comes across a powerful ring. However, despite my best efforts to encourage Pemmy to take the ring for himself, it is clear that he wants to make a good impression and forces the ring upon me. Well, my friends, let's just say I'm not going to say no to a whopping 5 stamina. And before long, we have come across the Bloodtooth camp, home to the most powerful Furbulks that dwell within Ashenvale. And after doing battle with just one of the guards, I have to remind Pemmy that the light will protect us, and that while dealing battle with these very high-level Furbulks is most dangerous indeed, with our combined might, we are able to clear the way to their leader, Mr. Bloodtooth. And despite their leader being level 30 and having 2 powerful guards ambush us from behind, we are able to prove our worth to the holy light. Following this mission, Pemmy reveals that he'd like to visit the local lake house. However, my friends, while swimming across the lake, we come under attack by these vicious, befouled water elementals, and it is clear that this lake is not safe for those intending to enjoy a swim in the lake. And that is why I am most pleased when both Pemmy and I agree that we must cleanse the waters of this evil. But first, my friends, the reason we came here, Pemmy intends to master the ways of the chef, and to make use of the cooking skills he has learned. It turns out that our elven friend, well, let's just say he needs a cooking fire, and with the town of Astronar so far away, I suddenly have a great idea, and Pemmy and I make our way towards the nearby Furbulk encampments. And after clearing the way, I patiently wait by the Furbulk's cooking fire, while Pemmy prepares his goblin-deviled clams, using the Furbulk's own facilities, without their permission. And what do you know, he even shares some of these delicious clams with me. And for our next mission, the two of us make our way towards the lake, intent on purging it of these befouled water elementals. And Pemmy came prepared, and he even shares with me his elixirs of water breathing. And this turns out to be most useful indeed, for these befouled water elementals enjoy freezing us below the water's surface, intent on drowning us beneath the watery depths. And as I work tirelessly to shield the hunter and his feline companion from harm, we begin to amass a collection of the water elemental's bracers. And just as Pemmy remarks that these waters are most dangerous indeed, we come under siege by multiple water elementals, and what appears to be the most befouled water elemental of them all. Fortunately, my friends, the light blesses me with a lucky critical heal, preventing the untimely death of the hunter's feline companion. And after taking a breather to enjoy the goblin-deviled clams, it's not long before Pemmy and I are back in action, purifying the lake of these watery fiends. And after handing over these elemental bracers, we receive a healthy dose of experience points, and are offered a most dangerous quest indeed. If we travel into the heart of the Barrens, we can come across the evil skeletal wizard, who summoned forth these befouled water elementals, and who had ruined this otherwise lovely holiday resort. Pemmy and I agree to venture back into the Ashenvale forest, and after dealing with a surprise attack of Furbulks, we make our way south down the Ashenvale road. Our elven friend remarks that he's not quite sure about venturing into the Barrens. Fortunately, my friends, Pemmy remembers that from the last episode, I had actually found a safe passage, and after reaching a familiar place from the last episode, I lead Pemmy safely across the border into the Barrens. And it's not long before we begin climbing a very high mountain, and as we climb even higher, I notice that the air is becoming thick with a sickly red smoke. A sign of doom, I am certain. But actually, my friends, as we reach the top of the mountain, it turns out that a few well-placed arrows were all that were needed to bring down the skeletal wizard. And the skeletal wizard comes to an anticlimactic end. Pemmy and I travel back towards Ashenvale, and as we venture northbound through the forest, the two of us remark on our glorious adventure, and I am sure to let Pemmy know that his name will surely be remembered in the Holy Scriptures. And finally, my friends, we return the head of the skeletal wizard. And my friends, we are rewarded with a most powerful relic of the light indeed, the Light of Elune. And of course, a very healthy dose of experience points. Now, my friends, the Light of Elune is a most useful relic indeed. Although it can only be used one time, it grants total immunity to all spells and damage for a whopping 10 seconds. And that is actually the same duration as the Hearthstone cast time. And so perhaps I will learn a way to make a macro. Please comment below if you know how this macro is written, for it would be most useful for a priest like me, and you never know, it could preserve our holy journey. And as the night elf hunter Pemmy and I part ways, I reminisce on the wonderful adventure that we have had today. And after trekking through the Ashenvale forest, I finally return to the elven town of Astrana. And of course, my friends, I must thank you once more for watching another episode. If you'd like to support this most holy journey, please consider subscribing. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Good tidings, my friends, and always remember, light be with you.